People love talking about leadership races. It's like talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs and who are the favorites and who could come up the middle, Eddie Stelmach style, and win the leadership of the Alberta NDP. There's not really one heir apparent. Would you agree?
Yeah, there is a short list. There's a lot of interesting names in the hat.
So what is it that you like about Raki?
She lives in Edmonton, but she speaks to Calgary and speaks of Calgary the way Calgarians do. She fits in here so well. She understands business. She understands climate change. She understands the NDP's social responsibilities. She's really likable. She likes people. She works rooms really well, and she's smart. She's a lawyer. I have a soft spot for lawyers because of their ability to process a lot of information. Sort of test different ideas, come to different conclusions, and she has that really agile and nimble brain that you need, I think, to be a great leader. So I've been impressed every time I've heard her speak.
I would, probably bet $1,000 on the fact that Kathleen Ganley will seek the leadership. Obviously, nobody's announced it yet because Notley's not announced when she'll be taken off.
I think she's formidable. She has the experience. She has served in these senior roles. She clearly understands oil and gas. That's been one of her critic portfolios. Kathleen Ganley versus Danielle Smith, that would be a formidable fight.
I would love to see Shannon Phillips have an opportunity to shine in a debate. She kind of wears her heart on her sleeve on some things. She's a professional, but she can be polarizing. But I mean, what prominent politician isn't?
She's amazing. She's so smart. She is so tough. She is so good at prosecuting a case. She doesn't back down from anyone. It's no secret that women deal with just an enormous volume of nonsense in politics that is 100 times bigger than the pile that men deal with, and she just kind of eats it for breakfast. She doesn't trifle with these trolls online or people who call her names or things like that. She destroys them. If she's running, the thing that I've heard is that she's not running, that she doesn't want to run.
Very possible.
She's not interested. If she was interested, she is immediately one of the top three.
This next candidate could make some noise. He represents Edmonton Centre. He's currently serving as the health critic. He came on this show a few weeks ago and threw some pretty well-landed hand grenades. That David Shepard said that the UCP couldn't run a lemonade stand when he was here. Well, you think David Shepard might take a run at the leader's chair?
I think David Shepard is exactly the kind of guy you want to have in your cabinet. Really smart guy, tough guy, able to drop some bombs rhetorically, good turns of phrase, but I just think he's too Edmonton. He's the MLA for Edmonton Centre. He carries himself and dresses like an Edmontonian. He has this sort of whimsical style. I don't think that plays in Calgary, to be perfectly frank. And again, that has to be sort of the North Star for the NDP on its leadership conversation is who will expand our coalition of support and who will expand the electoral map for us in Calgary.
Sarah Hoffman has been the chair of the Edmonton Public School Board. She's been the health minister through some difficult times. I don't have word on. She's my MLA. I don't know whether or not she plans on seeking the leadership, but that would certainly be no joke. She'd be a formidable player.
She's obviously talented. I think she has Rachel Notley's trust probably more than anyone in her caucus right now. But picking Sarah Hoffman is a guarantee that you're going to remain in opposition, as far as I'm concerned. You simply are not going to win in Calgary with a leader that is that oriented towards Edmonton. Rachel Notley grew up in Northern Alberta. She kind of could spread her wings a little more in terms of her appeal across the province. But Sarah Hoffman is just sort of true and through an Edmonton MLA. You choose her. I think it probably is very satisfying to certain elements of the NDP base. Certainly the unions, organized labor, but you are kind of returning the party to where it was before the 2015 election.
She is one of the most likable MLAs for sure. And I suspect you're going to invoke your Edmonton caveat again. Janice Irwin has one of the most sort of, what do you want to call it? Her following is just so incredibly loyal. Does that mean that she would be an appropriate and wise choice as leader?
Yeah, Janice Nation is a real thing.
It
no
is.
question. And she's very well liked in Calgary. I can say, when she came down here couple years ago, I think, or maybe it was even last year for the Stampede, people loved her. She was a hit. She was the one that people gathered around, flocked towards. I just don't think she passes the the Calgary test in terms of winning, the ridings that Najwan won, the Calgary Glenmores, the Calgary Shaws, the Calgary Elbows, the sort of the ridings that the NDP needs to hold and then add to, which are very sort of more suburban, more, a little more oil and gas oriented. It's certainly not as downtown as Janice's energy is. And honestly, it's the best energy in probably Canadian politics. But I'm just not sure it's fit for purpose for what the NDP needs to accomplish if they want to hold government.
What about Don Iveson or Naheed Nenshi? You think either of them might be interested? This could be a straight shot to the Premier's office, Max.
Those names are interesting ones. I think Iveson, again, he has the Edmonton problem. He is very associated with Edmonton. He lives and breathes that city. And from what I understand, I think he's enjoying being in the private sector and making some real money for the first time in his life. So I'm not sure that he would come back to it, but he would be immediately sort of, one of the inside circle candidates if he did. He's such a good politician and such a smart guy. Nenshi, again, I get the appeal. I'm not sure that his brand works as well in a party system. Part of Nenshi's appeal, part of why he won is that he breaks ideological boundaries. He will vote with conservatives or take conservative positions on some issues, and he will take progressive positions on others. He doesn't fit the party mold. And I think it's part of why, there's always been this talk about him running for the federal Liberals. I think it's part of why it never happened, is that I don't think he's super duper interested in being a team player. I don't think he's super duper interested in being told by the Prime Minister's office that this is what you have to say, this is what you have to think. And, obviously, if you were the party leader, you would be calling the shots. It would be a little different, but it's still a different game than the one he is so good at the municipal level. And I think he lives and breathes Calgary politics to a level where he may not be that interested in provincial politics.